Here's one that scared the living shit out of me when I was younger. A boy is sleeping in his bed on a normal night. He hears footsteps outside of his door and peeks out to see what's happening. His door swings open quietly to reveal a murderer carrying the corpses of his parents. And after silently propping them up in a chair, he writes something on the wall with their blood. He then hides under the child's bed. The child is scared beyond belief. He can't read the writing on the wall, and he knows the man is hiding under his bed. Like any child, he pretends that he slept through the whole thing and hasn't awoken yet. He lays as still as the bodies propped up against the chairs, quietly hearing the breaths taken underneath his bed. An hour passes, and his eyes are adjusting more and more to the darkness. He tries to make out the words, but it's a struggle. He gasps when he finally makes out the sentence, "I know you're awake." Right then and there, he feels something shift from underneath his bed. A man leaves his house every morning to walk to work, and he passes a mental hospital surrounded by a wooden fence. Every morning, the patients are out in the yard, and he can hear them say in unison, 10, 10, 10, 10. One day, he gets curious, and he looks through a hole in the fence. Suddenly, a stick shoots out and pokes him in the eye. "Fuck!" he said to himself. While walking away, pissed off, he can hear the patients saying, 11, 11, 11, 11. When I was a child, my family moved to a big, old 2-floor house with big empty rooms and a creaking floorboard. Both of my parents worked, so I was often home alone when I came back from school. One early evening, when I came home, the house was still dark. I called out to my mother, "Mom, Mom?" And I heard her singing voice saying, "Yes," from upstairs. I called her again as I climbed the stairs to see which room she was in, and again I got the same "yes" reply. We were decorating at the time, and I didn't know my way around the maze of rooms, but she was on the one that was far. I felt uneasy, but I figured that it was only natural, so I rushed towards my mom, knowing that her presence would calm my fears, as my mother's presence always does. Just as I reached for the handle of the door to let myself into the room, I heard the front door downstairs open, and my mother called, "Sweetie, are you home?" in a cheery voice. I jumped back startled, and I ran down the stairs to her. But as I glanced back from the top of the stairs, the door to the room slowly cracked open. For a brief moment, I saw something strange in there, and I don't know what it was, but it was staring right at me. I check into a small hotel a few kilometers from Kiev. It's very late, and I'm extremely tired. I tell the woman at the front desk that I want a room. She tells me the room number and gives me the key, but says, "One more thing, comrade. There is one room without a number, and that room is always locked. Do not even think about peeking in there." I'm a little thrown off by that, but I take the key and I go to my room to sleep. Night comes, and I begin to hear trickling of water. It comes from across the room. I cannot sleep, so I open the door, and I realize the sound was getting louder, and it was coming from the room with no number. Instinctively, I pound on the door. No response. I look in its keyhole, and I see nothing except for red water still trickling. Naturally, I go down to the front desk to complain, and at the end of it I said, "By the way, who is in that room?" She looked at me and began to tell a story. Long story short, there was a woman in there, murdered by her own husband, skin all white except for her eyes, which were red. I didn't go to sleep that night. All I heard was the water slowly trickling on the other side of the room.